Jai Hind everyone, my name is Ashish Kumar and here I am going to present the topic web hosting in the subject web designing. So let's start the session. If I am talking about the web hosting, it is an online service that enable you to publish your website or web application on the internet. Okay, so web hosting provides the services to the website that designed by the web developer. When you sign up for a web hosting service, you basically rent some space on a physical server, right? Suppose you have to design a website and that website is totally based on the HTML, CSS and in the backend there are lots of database. So it is not possible to manage your website on your own site. So we need a online services called as a web hosting, in which you have you're basically rent some spaces on a physical server where you can store all the files related to your website and data necessary for your website to work properly, right? So when you decide to start a new website or when you decide to build a new website, you need to find a web hosting. You need to decide a web hosting provider that will supply you with that server space, right? So basically this server space onto the internet, right? So on the internet there are different services that provides services to your website, like database services, like availability, 24/7 availability, security, okay, and many more services provided by the web hosting. So your web host store all the file assets and databases onto the server and that server onto the internet. So whenever some types your domain name into the address bar of their browser, your host transfer all the files necessary to serve that request. That means suppose this is your website and this is the hosting, okay, web hosting. So this website is communicated through the web hosting. So whenever some user types domain name, regarding domain name is to provide name or IP address related to this website. So whenever the user write a domain name into the URL, that means it request goes to the web server onto the internet. That means request coming from the URL and goes to the hosting site, right? So hosting provides the different services related to this particular website. So you need to choose a hosting plan that best fits your needs. In fact, it works similarly to housing rentals. You have to pay the rent regularly in order to keep the server running continuously. Okay, so whenever you have to purchase a hosting onto the internet, that means you have to pay the rent for that particular hosting in order to keep the server running continuously. Okay, in order to, that means to keep the server running continuously. So you don't even need any programming language or knowledge to perform regular site management tasks. It is all responsibility of the web hosting to provides the different types of management tasks. Okay, so for instance, you can upload HTML and other files to the server, install content management system such as WordPress, Drupal, access your database and create backups for your site with ease. Okay, so besides providing server space for your website, web hosting provider also provide other services related to website management. Okay, so web hosting provides different types of services, or rather than those services, it also provided services like SSL certificate. That means it provides security. It provides security for a website. So SSLs mean that is secure socket layer, in which different types of security, different types of availability, different types of confidentiality are available, and it secure your website onto the internet. Another website management like email hosting and page builder, right? So it also provide the email hosting through the web hosting and build the page building. Okay. Another example is like a developer tools. Different types of development tools are available through the web hosting, and 24/7 customer support service. Okay. So web hosting provide 24/7 availability for your web page. That means 24/7, that means all time your website or your web pages related to websites are available onto the internet. That responsibility for the web hosting, it provide the support services, right? Another automated website backup. Suppose in your website number of web pages are available. Among all of web pages, suppose there are 2 or more web pages are deleted or due to some error, those pages are corrupted. So that means web hosting provide the automated website backup through which you can backup those website onto your website. Next is the one-click software installs for WordPress or Drupal and much more. Now next topic inside the web hosting is the types of web hosting. So most web hosts offer different types of hosting so that they can serve the need of different client. It depends on the client client needs. According to the needs, web hosting provide the different types of web hosting, whether you want to build a simple personal website or a business website. The most popular hostings are available in the market as a share hosting, VPS, that is virtual private server hosting, cloud hosting, dedicated hosting, and the last collected hosting. Okay. So in the share hosting, we will discuss later on each of one, discuss share hosting, VPS, cloud, dedicated, and collected. It is the best to start small, and when your site reaches higher traffic numbers, upgrade to a more advanced types of plans. So first one is the share hosting, right? So in share hosting, multiple websites are hosted on a single server. That means this is your server. Okay. So in shared hosting, multiple websites, there are lots of websites, and these websites are handled by the single server. All the website on that server share resource, and each website is assigned a limited amount of total server resources, which is defined by their hosting plan. Suppose let us take an example. This is your server, okay, single server, and here multiple number of website. Okay, so in shared hosting, we divided this server, single server, into different components like 1, 2, 3, 4. So this single server divided into 4 server and each server is dedicated to the number of different multiple website. Okay. So in shared hosting, it is an economical way for small businesses to create a website. In Linux shared hosting and Windows shared hosting are several types of share hosting solution, and it is provided as a option by almost every web hosting provider. So if you start up or if you build a small website, so you can use the share hosting as a services onto the internet, right? So your choice between Windows and Linux entirely depend on the kind of coding language and development platform you will use for your website. Suppose let us take an example. For ASP.NET website, you will need to opt for Windows shared hosting. Another example, suppose you have if your website built upon a Linux, that you will need to opt for Linux share hosting. So in a shared web hosting, a server is partitioned to a host multiple account for different customer. I earlier shown you the you have divided a single server into a different partition, and each partitions is dedicated to a multiple websites. Okay, so every customer manage their separate website, emails and databases. However, the server resources are resources and cost are shared by all. So that's why it is cheaper and it is easily available for small businesses and for a single user also. Okay, so website hosted on the server shared all its resources such as memory like RAM, computing power, disk space, talking about the availability of storage and the other thing. So share hosting is cost effective because here only a single server, and the single server is partitions into the multiple different kinds of server, and each partitions is dedicated to the particular website. Okay, so no technical maintenance by client. Share hosting product comes with built-in web hosting panels. We offer cPanel with Linux shared hosting and Plesk with Windows shared hosting. These panels help you effortlessly to manage your website. And DNS setting, other things like DNS, that is domain name server, email settings and etc. Domain name server, that means you have to provide the name for your website. Suppose you design a website. Suppose I am a web developer, I am designing a website. In website, number of collection of web pages. Suppose my website is now is completely designed. Now the point is how we can upload our website onto the internet. So through the web hosting, we have to upload our website onto the internet. Now your website is uploaded onto the internet. That means now the question is how the user can identify your website. So through the DNS, it provides the name to the website. Okay, so DNS provides the names to your website. Share hosting is the ideal platform for running a small to medium sized website. This could include anything from small blogs to full-fledged dynamic website for companies. Okay, if your business has the potential to grow big, involves payments or secure information on your website, you should consider upgrading. So here some advantages and disadvantages of shared hosting. So let us discuss about the advantages. In shared hosting, it provides low cost, excellent for small online business website. Okay, I already told you if you initiate a small business, that share hosting is become more usable or more popular hosting for the small online businesses website. Another advantage is no need for specific technical knowledge, pre-configured server options, user-friendly control panel like provided by the cPanel as a cPanel. Maintenance and server administration is taken cared for your comms. Okay. Next, disadvantages regarding the share hostings are little or no control over server configuration. Traffic surge on the other website can slow down your website. If onto the internet, right? So lots of traffics are available. That means it slow down your website. It is a main drawback regarding the share hosting. Next is the virtual private server, that is called as a VPS. In this hosting, web host allocates an entirely separate partitions for you on that server. This means you get a dedicated server space and a reserved amount of a resource and a memory. Okay, so let us take an example. Suppose here is the like user A, B and C, right? So A develop a website, B develop a website and C develops website, and these users wants a server as a virtual private server. So in VPS, that means entirely separated, right? So entirely different kind of separated provided services partitions for allocate onto the A, onto the B, onto the C. So you are still sharing a server with other user. In fact, VPS hosting can be great for medium sized businesses with a rapidly growing number of websites and traffic. VPS hosting can be good for medium sized businesses with a rapidly growing number of website and traffic. Here are some advantages and disadvantages regarding the VPS. VPS provide the dedicated server space. Okay, so suppose this is A, so for A user, dedicated servers allocated to this particular A user. Traffic surge on the other website have no effect on your performance because obvious because onto the internet lots of users are available, and for that user dedicated services are allocated to these users, right? So root access to the server, easily scalability and high customizability. If talking about the cons, more expensive than other type of hosting. Other type of hosting means as compared with the share hosting, it is more expensive, right? Technically and server management knowledge is a must. In VPS, technical as well as the server management knowledge is must. If you are using the VPS, so you have to know the technical and server management. Next is the cloud hosting. Cloud hosting means it is a currently and the most reliable solution on the market with cloud hosting. That means your data is available on the cloud, and now cloud provide the different type of services for your website. Web hosts provide a cluster of server, files and resources are replicated on each server. So in a cloud, there are variety of clusters are available in which files and resources are replicated on each server. When of the cloud service server is busy or encounters a problem, traffic is automatically routed to another in the cluster. Suppose here some devices, right, A, B, C. So through the cloud hosting, different we maintain a cluster, right? So in the cloud hosting, web hosts provide a cluster of servers. Suppose here the A wants A request goes to through this particular server, like this server's name as a ABC, right? Now suppose that if the internet is busy or onto the internet lots of traffics, so the A request goes to the on that server, but this service is busy. That means in another server it provides the services to this particular A. It is an most important advantage of a cloud hosting. That means web host provides a cluster of server, files, resources replicated on each server, right? So traffic is automatically routed on another server in the cluster like this. If this cluster is busy, that means traffic is routed from the other server. Okay, so this result in little to no downtime, which is excellent if you own a very busy website. So there are not there is no traffic, your automatically routed to another cluster, which means excellent your own a very busy website. No downtime when a user request goes to the internet, and on that request server respond particular request. So here some advantages regarding the cloud: little to no downtime, server failure have no effect on your website, because if the this server is fail, that means your request is responded by the this server. Okay, so pay as you pricing strategy, you only pay for what you use, more scalable than other web hosting types. Cons are the hard to estimate the actual cost, because it is cost expensive, more expensive than shared as well as the VPS. Root access is not always provided. And the last types of the web hosting is the dedicated hosting, in which dedicated means you have to provide the dedicated server to the different client. So you have your own physical server that dedicated solely to your website. Okay, therefore you are given a incredible flexibility over how you want to manage your website. Configure your server as you wish. Suppose you are a web developer and you want a dedicated hosting. Suppose your configurations, your needs are, suppose you want a 16 GB RAM, 1 TB hard disk. So web hosting, regarding the dedicated hosting, provide a different server onto your own physical server, dedicated solely to on your website. Okay, so configuration your server as your wish, as your demand. Web hosting, dedicated hosting provided to the services to your website. In fact, renting a dedicated server is just as powerful as owning your own on-site server, but comes with the professional support of your web host. This is more oriented towards large online businesses that deal with the heavy traffic. So here some advantages and disadvantages regarding the dedicated hosting. Advantages are full control over server configuration, because as per the demand, web hosting provide services to your system. So root access to your server. Okay, disadvantage, because obviously high cost, more expensive, because for each devices there are dedicated server. So obviously there is not a single server that provide a services to your web to your web system. Here some dedications link, so provide the dedication link, affect the high cost. More oriented towards large businesses, technical and server management knowledge is must. So here is the co-acted hosting. As you can see here, it is a co-acted hosting example. A co-acted server is owned by the user and is housed in a secure facility with an uninterruptible power supply, internet connectivity, and increased security features. Now let's comes to our next topic is the domain name registration, called as a DNS, domain name server. So you register your domain name through a domain name registrar or a partner site. To register your domain name, enter your preferred domain into the search form. Check it has not already been registered by somebody else. Suppose you develop develop a website, right? Now you finalize your website, you register your domain name through a domain name registrar, because your website is ready to provide the services onto the internet. But before launching your website, you must need the name regarding the website. So you went to the registrar, and registrar provide the domain name for your website. So if I'm talking about the different kinds of web hosting, in India different kinds of web hosting are available, like GoDaddy, Bluehost. So these hosters provide online services, as well as also provide the domain name registration regarding your website. So domain name register regarding this website, you have to go on to the particular hosting. It also provide the hosting as well as the registration name regarding your website. So to register your domain name, enter your preferred domain into the search form. Check that it has not already been registered by somebody or else. If the domain is not available, try again using an alternative name. Okay, suppose like if my name is like abc.ac.in. If this name is already taken by the another user, so you have to change like xyz.ac.in. Now this is available, and so you can continue through the checkout. So now your website name is as a xyz.ac.in, right? Private registration, you must supply up to date contact details. Domain name registrar would not let you register a domain name without providing these details. So private domain register ensure that your details are hidden from a public view. Okay, so in a private registration, as you can see, and the name suggests as a private, that means somewhere your information is confidential from the public view. Without a private registration, anyone can see details of a domain registrant by using the publicly available WHOIS database. If you register a domain name as a private registration, your details are replaced with a proxy company. Next topic, update your DNS. Like once you have registered your domain name, it will usually point to a placeholder page hosted with your web host or domain name registrar. You need to update your domain name DNS record to point to the IP address, because every DNS provide the name, and that name like abc.ac.in is binded with the IP address like 192.10.0.1, right? So your domain name registrar will provide you with the control panel to update the DNS record. So this is all about the web hosting. So in the next lecture, we will see how the name server, what is the name server, and what is the importance of name server. Thank you to all.